This is for Algebra 1. This is the quadratic crossroad. It's going to take some of the things we've been looking at and go a little deeper into it. Given the following equation, x squared equals x plus 2, graph the left-hand side of the equation in y1. So take your calculator and go to y1 and clear it out, and you would put x squared. Graph the right-hand side of the equation in y2. So you go down to y2 and you put x plus 2. Sketch the graph. So once we've done this, we need to look at our graph. Remember, I like for you to start out at zoom 6. Okay, so your graph ought to look something like that, so you're going to sketch that. If you want to be more specific with your points, on your calculator you can go second graph, and you could put a point at 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9, etc. to get your curve, and 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, etc. to get your straight line. It's up to you. Label the points of the intersection where they cross. Okay, we're needing to know these 2 points where they cross. What are the solutions to the equation? X equal -1 and x equal positive 2. Those solutions are coming from the x value where they cross. Okay? So we took a quadratic. We did not get everything on the same side. We put everything before the equal sign at y1, everything after at y2. We found the 2 places that they intersected, and those were our solutions. This would be like what we did in previous lessons, where that you put your equation at y1 and 0 at y2, and you go second calc 5. The reason we're choosing 5 here is for intersect. We're finding where the lines intersect or cross. And you have to do this twice because it happens at 2 places. So, given the following equation, x squared minus x minus 2, this is the same as the first problem. Explain how it is transformed. What did they do to get from the problem in number 1 to this problem in number 2? Well, they moved the 2 to the other side and subtracted it. Okay? So they moved the 2. And what I'm talking about is, actually they moved the x plus 2. They moved the x plus 2 to the left side. So then they want you to factor the left side. So on this you would find the factors of 2, 1 and 2. Use your sign rules. Signs are different, and the largest one is negative. And they need to equal 1 because that's like a 1 there. So 1 and -2. So when you factor that, you're going to end up with x plus 1 and x minus 2. Set the factors equal to 0 and solve. We've talked about doing this before. So x plus 1 equals 0, x is -1. X minus 2 equals 0, x is 2. Verify by graphing. They want you to graph the left hand in y1, the right hand in y2. This is what we did previous lessons. y1 is now x squared minus x minus 2. y2 is now 0. You can look at your graph and see where they cross, or you can do your second calc 5. Enter, enter, enter. One intersection is -1. Second calc 5. Go over to the other place it crosses the x-axis. Enter, enter, enter. And the other solution is 2. Graph the left-hand side of the equation in y1 over here. This is what it should look like. Graph the right-hand side of the equation in y2. What axis is represented by the right-hand equation? Keep in mind your right-hand equation was y2 is equal to 0. Okay? If you have y equals 0, what axis is this? Is it your horizontal or your vertical? It's your horizontal, otherwise known as the x-axis. Label the points of intersection where y1 and y2 meet. So you have a point here, you have a point here. These are also called your x-intercepts. So what are the roots or solutions to this equation? Well, remember, a root is a solution, is an answer, is an x-intercept, is where it crosses the x-axis. So -1 and 2. Looking at the back, graph the function f of x is equal to x squared minus x minus 2. By the way, y equal, 0 equal, and f of x equal are all treated the same. You just go take everything on the other side and you put it in your calculator at y equal x squared minus x minus 2. Look at your graph. Hopefully it looks like this. The zeros of the function are f of x is equal to 0. Label the zeros on the graph. The zeros are where it crosses the x-axis, -1 and 2. What are the zeros of the function? What is another name for zeros of a function? Well, -1 and 2 are your zeros. Another name is x-intercept. How does the graph of this function compare to the graph of the two sides of the equation of the second problem? Well, they're going to look the same and have the same x-intercepts. Probably what you want to write down is both have the same x-intercepts. So number 4, what are the roots or solutions to the equations in problems 1 and 2? Remember, they were technically the same equation. Okay? So the roots or the solutions are x equal -1 and x equal 2. Don't worry about methods to find it. Number 5, what were the zeros or the x-intercepts of the third problem? -1 and 2. So number 6, how do the roots or solutions of the equation compare to the zeros or the x-intercepts of the function? Well, guess what? They're all the same. So basically, what you need to understand is that a root is a solution, is a zero, is an x-intercept, is an answer. It's all the same. And it's not that difficult to find. So when they do end a course, the way they try to trick you is that they'll give you one question that asks for the roots, and then they'll turn around and give you another question, tell you to find the zeros. You need to understand that you're doing the same thing for any of these. Finding a root, a solution, a zero, or an x-intercept is all the same thing. It's where the graph crosses the x-axis. At this point, you need to turn to page 3. Find the roots or solutions for the following quadratic equations. Verify using the table function in the graphing calculator. So, what would you do to find the roots for x squared is equal to x plus 6? Well, you would want to go to your calculator. You would want to go to y equal, and what would you put at y1? Anything before the equal sign, so x squared. What would you put at y2? Anything after the equal sign, so x plus 6. Then you're going to go second, calc, number 5 for intersect. We need to know where they cross. Enter, enter, enter. And I went too fast. Sorry about that. Second calc, 5, enter, enter, enter. All you care about here is the x value. X equal -2. Okay, that's one of your solutions. X equals -2. You got to go through the same steps again, second calc 5, but before you press enter, you got to get to the other place where they cross each other. So go to the right until they get close to each other again. Enter, 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 and 3 is the other solution. So -2 and 3. I'm not really worried about whether you draw the graph. X squared plus 7x plus 10. What are the factors? Well, you would find the factors of 10, 1 and 10, 2 and 5. Signs are the same. They're all positive. They have to equal 7, so we're going to use 2 and 5. So when you factor that, you get x plus 5 and x plus 2. So how would you find your solution? Well, x plus 5 is equal to 0, and x plus 2 is equal to 0. When you move your 5 and you move your 2, you get x is equal to -5 and -2. Once again, I don't care if you draw a graph. Number 8, find the zeros or x-intercepts of f of x equal x squared minus x plus 6. Don't forget, f of x doesn't mean anything different. Okay, we're still going to go to y equal. Clear it out and put x squared minus 5x plus 6. When there's not anything on the other side, go ahead and put a 0. Second, calc 5 for intersect. Let it draw. Enter, enter, enter. And your first solution is 2. Got to find the second one because they cross in two places, or it crosses the x-axis twice. Second calc 5. We're over here kind of on the left side, so go to the right. Enter, 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 and 3. So your zeros or your x-intercepts, and you can either tell me 2 and 3, or you can tell me 2, 0 and 3, 0. I won't be real picky about that. Once again, don't worry about the graph. Number 9, the methods you examined today are ways to solve quadratic equations. What are the 3 methods? Well, what we looked at is looking at your graph, a little bit about looking at your tables, and factoring. When they're talking about looking at your table, if you went second graph and pulled up your table, you would look where y2 and y1 were the same. So do you see how it's a 2 and a 0? They're not the same. It's a 0 and a 0, so 2 is an answer. 0 and 0, 3 is an answer. 2 and 0, not the same. So that is another way to do it, using your table. Second calc 5, enter, 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 is probably your fastest way to do this, though. Okay, make sure and put your name on this paper. I know it's white like it's notes, but I want you to go ahead and turn it in. This would be an easy grade for you today. If you have any questions, let me know. If you owe me anything, you need to be working on that.